Today on Traveler 360, going guided, we share the low-stress choice for the trip of a lifetime, plus the importance of travel insurance. Kim Wiesmann shares her story of a trip injury that took an unexpected turn.
Also, safety and stays. We're answering a top question for summer travel. What's it like to stay in a hotel right now? Plus the land you love, the national parks you'll want to visit this summer, and our favorites that we'll add to that list.
Get ready because Traveler 360 starts right now. Welcome to the second episode of Traveler 360. I'm Amy Short.
And I'm Tony Adebato. That's right, we had such a great time on the last episode, we thought, let's get together and do it again. So we've got another great show in store for you today.
Does the idea of seeing all of Rome seem daunting? Don't feel like driving yourself through the national parks of the West? We've got a solution for you. Here's AAA's take on how a guided vacation can help you experience all a dream destination has to offer. Here to chat with us first about the benefits of taking a guided vacation is Leibl-Cote, Senior Vice President of Global Business at AAA Member Choice Vacations. Hi, Christian. It's great to see you.
Hi, Amy. It's great to see you, too. Thank you for having me.
So, first thing first. For those who may not be as familiar, what is a guided vacation?
Well, essentially, a guided vacation is a package where we create travel experiences that are seamless with planned itineraries, where you get to see the must-sees, unique experiences, and you also have plenty of free time. We also organize all the transportation from day one all the way through the last day.
So what are the perks of going guided?
Well, there's many perks of going guided on a guided vacation, and there's so many of them. But I only picked a few. So the number one is the tour manager. Tour manager is the true expert of the destination. They're the ones that understand the local culture, the locals. They're a great way for you to communicate with the locals if it's in a different language. But what's the amazing thing is you become great friends with your tour manager, and they also create unique experiences that you would never be able to do on your own. So they are a true friend while you're traveling. Now, the other perks that you have is cultural immersions, where you have the opportunity to have unique experiences that you would never be able to do on your own. And, these are things that I always say is travel is a great educator. And that's what guided vacation creates for you, is you really get to learn the destination and fall in love with it. And then the other thing too, I'd say, is peace of mind. You have nothing to worry about when you're on a guided vacation while you're on trip. Everything is taken care of for you from the moment you leave your home to the moment you come back.
Once destinations begin to open, why might this type of travel be the best option?
Well, guided vacation is the best way to travel right now, especially because we take care of follow all the rules and regulations of each of the countries whenever they open up. But more importantly, we want to make sure that we follow up and make so that all of our guests get to experience what they paid for. A lot of times the borders might be open, but museums or restaurants might be closed. So we want to make sure that all of our guests, what they paid for, they will receive while they travel. We want to make sure they have an amazing experience.
So what does a traveler who may be thinking about going guided, maybe thinking about doing it on their own, what are those must-ask questions to make that decision?
That's a great question, and the thing that I would say is go see your AAA travel agent. They're the ones that will give you. They know the best information about what guided vacation is. And I'll say this, from my personal experience, a guided vacation is for everyone. Once you do it once, you will want to go back every single time.
What you said is so true, and I said earlier I was a little biased, and I'll tell you why. My first guided vacation was actually my honeymoon. We spent nearly 2 weeks in Italy, and after the stress of planning a wedding, to not have to think about anything from transportation to meals to backstage access at certain events was so wonderful. And like you said, the tour guide and the knowledge and the people, and it was just so lovely. So you you do form those connections and you get to see the best of these countries and learn about the history and the culture. It really is the most amazing way to travel. So Christian from AAA Member Choice Vacations, thank you so much for lending your expertise with us today, and we appreciate you being with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Amy.
In the past, travel insurance tended to get overlooked. We thought of it as extra, but our attitudes have definitely changed since the pandemic began. Like other types of insurance, it brings you peace of mind. It helps you to enjoy your trip instead of having to worry about what might go wrong. For avid traveler Kim Wiesmann, having travel insurance not only saved her thousands of dollars, but more importantly, when she took a fall on a business trip, her injury uncovered something that she wasn't expecting. Let's hear from Kim as she shares her story. Kim Wiesmann is an avid business traveler. Throughout her career, she's visited 16 countries and is accustomed to traveling internationally. But on her last business trip to Hungary, she experienced a fall that would change her life.
I fell down a flight of stairs, which I felt like I had broken my leg or my hip.
She was immediately taken to a local hospital for x-rays.
It was determined that I had a cancerous tumor in my hip, which caused it to break.
Medical professionals knew she needed to get home to the U.S. as soon as possible. Out of pocket, medical transportation would have cost upwards of $50,000. But thanks to Kim's travel insurance policy, it cost only a fraction.
It covered trip cancellation, trip interruption, medical and dental, which it covered up to $50,000, and emergency evacuation, which covered up to $1 million, as well as baggage loss, baggage delay.
Kim faced challenges trying to leave Hungary to return to Ohio to seek medical care. As is the case in most foreign countries, hospital bills need to be paid before a patient is allowed to be discharged. For American travelers in this situation, it can create a big, expensive problem, especially if they're traveling alone.
Since my husband wasn't with me, they worked with him back here in the United States to get all the paperwork in and to make sure that the hospital was paid.
The agency also coordinated Kim's medical flight from Budapest, Hungary to Cincinnati, Ohio, and arranged an emergency nurse to accompany her. Courtney Parsons, a AAA travel agent in Florence, Kentucky, is an advocate for travel insurance.
You just never know what's going to happen. My job as a travel agent is to protect my client's investment and their best interest. So much of travel is not refundable, especially airline tickets. They're non-refundable, non-changeable. They're non-transferable too.
Many travelers gamble and assume a travel insurance policy is something they'll never have to cash in. But travel agents like Courtney recommend travel insurance for both international and domestic travel for a variety of reasons.
I would say that travel insurance is absolutely recommended for both international and domestic travel, especially international where you're farther away from home and you may need to have that emergency evacuation or any of that kind of assisted health insurance while traveling abroad. God forbid something should happen and you need to get home, you've got that added health coverage as well.
Courtney adds that there are several different types of travel insurance, with many offered by airlines or tour operators. Policies from travel agencies like AAA can offer a broader range of protection, including cancel anytime options.
For example, I had a client once that was in Jamaica and a hurricane was coming through, was not going to hit Jamaica, but was going to hit Florida, which is where their flight was going to connect through. So they ended up having to stay in Jamaica 3 extra days, and that trip interruption covered the cost of those nights.
The relatively inexpensive cost of travel insurance is worth it to protect a travel investment.
Travel insurance gives you the best peace of mind when traveling, so you can just go and have fun and enjoy and not have anything to worry about.
As for Kim, travel insurance is something she now always recommends to any traveler, regardless of their destination.
Having travel insurance provides peace of mind. Why ruin your vacation over not having travel insurance? You're worth it.
What an incredible story, and of course Kim is such an amazing person. Her strength and positive outlook is truly inspiring. This is such a great reminder of how important it is to have travel insurance, especially during these times. To learn more about travel insurance, visit AAA.com/travel insurance.
We've said it before, this is the year of the road trip. And as travel kicks into high gear, hotel occupancies are expected to be on the rise. But if you're like many of our members, you're probably wondering the same thing. What's it like to stay in a hotel right now? Well, today, Best Western gives us an inside look at how things have changed and what you can expect during your next stay.
Since the pandemic, hotels have taken extra precautions and implemented several safety protocols.
Best Western developed the We Care Clean program in conjunction with the government agencies to provide the best and safest environment for our guests and our employees. The We Care Clean program is two components. It's not just the cleaning to, be safe on the virus part, but it's also the operational piece with our employee interactions. The mobile concierge platform allows the guests to not only pre-register for check-in, but throughout their stay, they can request towels, extra amenities, or receive information on the hotel all through their phone.
We are doubling everything that we do. We're doubling on cleaning up our light fixtures, our handles, our door handles, our ironing board, our coffee pot. An electrostatic sprayer is a device that we use to fight the COVID virus. We use this device for the final sanitizing of our rooms.
If a guest is staying multiple nights, they'll have to request their daily cleaning if they want to. It's not automatic like it was in the past.
Well, one of the first things they're going to notice is a best-in-class approach both by the restaurant and by the hotel. Besides rigorous daily health assessments of all of our employee temperature checks along with a voluntary vaccination program that we offer, we also have a multi-step contact cleaning program that includes UV lighting, electrostatic disinfectant along with EPA, CDC, and food-safe sanitizers for the table. Prior to reopening, everybody had to go through a certification that they understood the importance of what was happening and the role and responsibilities that they played. It's an ingrained culture now. The standards you see us employing today will likely continue to be with us well beyond the days of COVID.
Breakfast at Best Western has always been a highlight for a lot of guests in the morning after they stay. It's changed quite dramatically through the pandemic to encourage safety between our guests and our employees. Guests may notice more grab-and-go bags at this point than the hot breakfast. It is in an attempt to minimize any sort of exposure without decreasing the service.
When you're traveling, we do recommend advanced planning. Advanced planning is more important this year as we anticipate that people will need to make reservations perhaps that they had not considered before. That includes amusement parks, restaurants. You need to anticipate things are going to look different and there are changes.
One thing that I want guests to know is that we truly care about their health and safety as much as we care about our employees. We're all individually owned and operated properties, and you are our family just as much as our employees are.
It's been great to see how much the hotel industry has stepped up to find ways to make hotels as safe and comfortable as possible. They're excited to welcome travelers back this summer. If you're ready to find out what it's like to travel, head to AAA.com/theextramile.
America is home to so many incredible national parks, but with big names like Yosemite or the Grand Canyon come bigger crowds. So here to talk with us about some of the trails less traveled is Cynthia Hernandez from the National Park Service. Thank you so much for joining us, Cynthia. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
So Cynthia, where can travelers go this summer for the natural beauty and outdoor fun that we love about our national parks, where it might be just a little bit less crowded?
Great question. With 423 national parks across the country and at least one in every state, there are plenty of opportunities for our visitors to have an incredible experience while outdoors. Now, summer months are typically busy for our national parks, and this time many folks are choosing to stay closer to home. So we definitely encourage visitors to take trips to lesser known parks. Some options are Catoctin Mountain Park in Maryland, Stonewall National Monument in New York, Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area in Georgia, Pipestone National Monument in Minnesota, Grand Canyon Parashant National Monument in Arizona, Craters of the Moon National Monument and Preserve in Idaho, and Gates of the Arctic National Park and Preserve in Alaska. Those are just a few options, but we encourage all of you to try to head out during the week or early in the morning to also avoid crowds. I'd also like to remind folks that face masks are required while inside park buildings, as well as outdoors wherever physical distancing cannot be maintained.
Wow, so with over 400 national park options to choose from, that can be pretty intimidating, right? So how do travelers narrow down the choice of which one they really want to visit?
Another great question, and unfortunately, no one true answer. I can offer National Park Service's website, nps.gov, as a resource to narrow down the activities that you want to do, things you want to see, and things you want to learn about as well. You can search by state as well as activity like hiking, biking, fishing. And I'd also want folks to consider the level of difficulty of whatever experience you'd like to choose. There is really something to do and something to experience for everyone, but we do ask that folks be aware of your physical capabilities before taking a trip. For example, if you haven't been on a 10-mile hike in a while, I would research trails that maybe are shorter or don't have such a steep incline. Many parks also have very scenic drives, so that's one way to experience parks from the comfort of a vehicle.
I love that tip about driving through and experiencing it from the comfort of your own car. That's great. So how about the length of the trip? How many days do you suggest that travelers would need to visit a national park to get the full experience?
There are options for whatever length of trip you'd want to take, whether it's just an afternoon or morning or multiple days. There are plenty of options, and it's really up to you.
Okay. Now, I have a confession, Cynthia. I sometimes suffer from information overload when I start to plan trips. So there's just so much information out there, right? What are one or two great resources for travelers when they're planning out their trip?
Well, I've already mentioned nps.gov, and I sound like a broken record with that one, but it is a really great resource to sit down and plan your trip. Like I said, 2 to 3 months before, but also the week before to see if there are any road closures that you should be aware of, any safety concerns. We also recently made our new mobile app available on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. It's called the National Park Service app. You can search for it on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. And it was created by our park rangers to help visitors have a really great experience in parks. And it gives the members of the public up-to-date information about every single national park, all 423 of them, from one single easy-to-use app. So you can plan your adventure from your phone, download maps and self-guided tours ahead of time, and you can find things to do and places to visit while on your adventure. You can find all the necessities, like where's the visitor center? Where can I find the entrance stations? Where are the bathrooms? But you can also find really great things to use in the park, like self-guided tours. The app is also available offline, so you can download resources ahead of time, including interactive maps, which is extremely important if you're hoping to visit parks that are in more remote locations and that may not have access to internet in all areas of the park.
Well, thank you so much, Cynthia from our National Park Service. With summer right around the corner, I can't wait to get out there and explore some of these great parks that are maybe a little closer to home with a little less crowds. Thanks again. You know, Amy, hearing about some of those national parks really makes me think about one of my favorite places.
Well, Tony, your timing couldn't be more perfect. After getting a lot of questions on this topic, we've got a spot in the show just to talk about our favorite places.
Perfect. So I just love reminiscing and sharing some of my adventures with everybody out there. And let me talk about Denali National Park. That is my favorite national park, and I had the opportunity to experience all that it has to offer several years back. So Denali is located up in Alaska, in case you didn't know, and it's home of the world-famous Denali Mountain, which of course was Mount McKinley. One thing I want to point out right off the bat is that I'm an official member of the 30% Club.
Well, I know that doesn't mean your age, so what does it mean?
Well, at the time it could have. However, what it means is that I was one of the lucky few that got to see the full peak for Denali.
Oh, wow.
Right? Because normally it is covered by a vast cloud system and you can't really see the mountain when you're on a train heading up or if you're in the park. So I was one of the lucky ones that got to see the mountain on a clear day. So It's a really cool experience, yeah.
Now, did you do the Tundra Wilderness Tour?
Of course, so that's next on my list, right? So the Tundra Wilderness Tour is an escape that you get to spend the full day in Denali National Park. You're on a bus and you're headed out into the wilderness, and it's the best opportunity to view all the natural wildlife that you can see in Denali. So when I was out there, I saw, I think, 3 bears, I saw Dall sheep, I saw a wolf, I saw a big moose that walked right up alongside the bus.
Wow.
So it was definitely one of the highlights of the trip for me.
So I guess this is why people say you shouldn't just do a cruise. You should do the land and the cruise.
Right, because you're never going to see Denali if you go to Alaska and just stay on that ship, right? It's inland. You got to spend some time inland. So, you know, I did experience it with a land and sea vacation, and I think it's the best of both worlds, and that's absolutely how I recommend it.
Wow, Tony, that sounds amazing. You know, I only did Alaska via cruise, so I didn't get to go to Denali, but I'm sure going to add it to my list.
You should.
You know, one place that I love that's a national park, and it's actually in my own backyard, is Shenandoah National Park.
So when you say it's in your own backyard, is it like literally you're on your back porch and there's Shenandoah?
I wish, but no.
Right.
It's only about 60 minutes outside of Washington, D.C., and it's a beautiful national park through the mountains of Western Virginia. It is gorgeous. So many nature trails, hiking, you can see so much wildlife, even the exclusive black bear. And it's the start of the Appalachian Trail. So if you're wanting to test it out a little bit, you can access the Appalachian Trail there.
So I'm assuming you've been there a few times. Have you hiked the Appalachian Trail, or what's
Not at all.
What's been your favorite experience?
My favorite experience is actually when I was in high school. We went there and we camped, and it was beautiful. We learned all about nature. It was really where I fell in love with Shenandoah National Park as a child. And we even went to Luray Caverns. So the caverns are, of course, a very historic area of Virginia, and you go underground and you can explore. They even have a real working organ, a pipe organ made out of the caverns.
It's funny that you mentioned Luray, because I actually went there during the pandemic. It's one of those great places that you can sort of spread yourself out and still enjoy all the natural beauty that you otherwise would. So maybe check out some caverns near you if you've got anything like that in your area.
And that's a great point, Tony. As we think the national parks are going to be really packed this year, take a look at what's in your own backyard. There's those smaller national parks that are out there for you to explore.
It's always great getting to share about the places that we love. So how about you? We'd love to hear about your favorite places. Upload a picture to Instagram and tag us at AAA_traveler with the hashtag #ShowcaseMyFavoritePlace for a chance to be featured on our page or even in an upcoming episode of Traveler 360. I can't believe that we've come to the end of another show, Amy.
But it's not goodbye, Tony. You can find us in the latest on travel at AAA.com/Traveler360. I'm Amy Short.
And I'm Tony Adebato. Thank you for joining us.